in for Henrik Larsson, and Moravcik! His first goal for Celtic! Here is Shunsuke Nakamura! Exquisite!
Hello everybody and welcome back to this episode of the Celtic Unrestricted View. My name is Ryan Clifford and joining me on this episode is Daniel. Daniel's back with us and my good man Alan. Well lads, been a bit of a whirlwind again this week with the transfer situation. Pusey, if you want to call him Pusey, we're all making names about the guy's name before he even comes in. But the centre back, Pusey, yes, that's it, Alan, we'll get it right. Pusey from Manchester City, looks like he's coming in to strengthen the defence. We'll touch on that. Obviously, the transfer situation has been a bit of a talking point at the moment. Deals getting done, well, quick enough, etc., etc. We'll touch on that as well. Boring as it is, it's in the media, it's in the process that gets spoken about, so we do have to talk about it, and we'll touch on obviously a bit about what Barry and JP spoke about, which is a good podcast at Celtic Park. We'll touch on a bit about the squad depth as well, about the forward line and maybe centre half positions. But Daniel, how are you, mate? Hope you're well. I'm glad to be back on, mate.
It's good to be back, Ryan. I'm not too bad, mate. Unfortunately, we've not had many major jump outs in terms of signings to talk about, but the boys are back on Sunday after what I would say relatively successful pre-season. So it'll be good to watch the team back in action on Sunday.
No, good to have you back on, mate. And yourself, Alan, hope you're well. And what's your thoughts been for the last few days, mate?
Yeah, morning everyone. Hope everyone's well. I'm pretty well. Yeah, I'm trying to put as much positive spin on things as we can, but I think we've seen as much activity as we've seen in Ryan's half-10 show. So for that, saying that, it's just, underwhelming's putting it in the massively brilliant side, but here's something, and we'll dig into all the topics and some of the comments, hopefully. But good to have a chat about Celtic and looking forward to the weekend to seeing us back in league business.
Yeah, like you say there, Alan, if there's anybody on the comments, the viewers, if there's any questions to us or anything you want to speak about topic-wise, let us know. If it's transfers, if it's a new signing, anything at all. If it's a new KT merchandise that they're getting us to buy, then we can chat about that as well. Get back to paradise for KT. But no, obviously, Daniel, you've not been on a few weeks, mate. Glad to have you back on. What's your take on what's been happening? Are you like some of the fans that are no happy with the situation, or you with the fans that are pretty calm about the situation? We'll see how we go. We'll judge at the end of the window. Or are you more on, maybe like myself and Alan, and a wee bit here that we think maybe things need to be a bit quicker and we should be a bit more fully prepared going into Sunday's game and obviously for the playoff coming up?
I think when the window opened and we seen quite a lot of movement early, I think I said on here I was excited and I was hoping that it was a sign of things to come. But as we've progressed, we've pumped the brakes massively. And I was trying to keep calm and keep just saying, we'll see how we end up at the end of the window. But hearing and seeing a lot of stuff in the media about how we're going about trying to secure some of these deals, I wouldn't say I'm worried, but I would say it definitely needs looking at, because I now find myself in a similar opinion as yourself and Aaron that something's not right. Do you know what I mean? A lot of things need looking at. So I think definitely we need to have a look at maybe if it's our recruitment processes or just deals in general about how we're going about things, because at the moment it's lackluster. I'd say. I don't know about yourselves.
Well, obviously, Alan, there's been photos branded about social media about protests, and we've seen this again this has come up again on social media. It's real. This is all coming up again, Alan, in social media about protests. And for me, I think it's a bit far. I think it's more trying to be positive at the game on Sunday and try and look forward to backing the team. I don't think we need any of that stuff, but it's popping up on social media, Alan, so it's showing you that whether no fans are, they should be this unhappy or whatever else, but there's some fans, but there's a lot of fans out there that are fine with the situation. Alan, with all opinions, we all see things different. I know people as well that are fine with the situation. Some are no happy, some are actually really, really no happy and they want to protest. I've seen some comments on other Celtic podcast fans that want to protest, but do you think some of that's too far, or do you think it's some it could be, if things don't get sorted, you could see some of that actually going again?
Personally, I think it's warranted. It's a combination of things. It's not just a one-off. You look basically at what's been going on, which is non-existent basically. We're now at a stage that where the manager is screaming for quality. I've seen an interview that he'd done last year, and it was basically a carbon copy of the one that he's done this year. So it's just the same thing again and again. I think the way things are getting on, it just looks like we're bidding $1.5 million for a player that a team wants kind of 5 or 6 million for. Now, to put that into perspective, I says to the boys before, they're bidding about 30% of what that team's expecting. So if, just for talking sake, if we were looking for 25 million for Jahmai, then that would mean that a team would come in with for 7 million to start off for Jahmai. That's 30% of 25 million roughly. How would that go down with Celtic fans? Is that an acceptable bid? Not in your nearly, nowhere near it. I just feel as if that we're going back to that kind of penny pinching. We're probably in the best position we've ever been in our whole entire existence, financially, infrastructure, the money that we've got available. Now, we're not foolish enough to think that we're going to spend all that money, right? That would put us in a bad place, like we've seen previously with other clubs in Scotland. But there's more meat in the bone here. There's more that we can spend. We've brought in 20 odd million, and we've spent a couple of million. It's get back to, I don't know if you remember the old kind of over an excuse sketch where Fergus McCann, the guy comes in, he says, "Would you like a glass of water?" He says, "Aye, how much is that?" He says, "It's free." He says, "That'll be £1, it's for rental of the glass." I think they'll get back to that stage. It's sounding like that, and it's very concerning. I've no doubt that we will do our business, but the point being is that you want to do your business early so that we're prepared going into a new season, so that the new players come in and they've got a chance to adapt and get kind of players ready for the things that are coming up. So I just think we're kind of sleepwalking into this season. I think you look upon that we can't sell the likes of Marco Tilly or Yang because we've no squad depth going in against a game against St Mirren. I think that's scandalous, absolutely scandalous. I think the way that we're being run just now, transfer-wise, we might well be being run well as a great business, but as a football club, we're getting run like Albion Rovers and lads. It's just nothing makes any sense to me that we're not bringing in players to replace quality that we've lost. We've lost Kuhl was best part of a month ago, and we've still not replaced them. We knew that Kyogo was leaving 10 months ago, 11 months ago. We knew that. Still not replaced them. Jota's been injured since before the end of the season. We've not brought in a short-term replacement either. It's just the mind boggles. Everybody's got different opinions, but I think it's an absolute shambles, and something needs to change quickly because, as I say, we are sleepwalking into this season. There's no bedwetting because I'm fully aware that we still should win domestically, but we can't take that for granted. We still need to be in the best position we possibly could be. That's all we basically want, to be the best version of Celtic we can be. The potential that we've got, is the ambition the board are showing, does that match the potential that we've got? Not in your Nelly, not in a million years, and something needs to change with that regard.
For me, Daniel, I'm similar to Alan in terms of I'm probably some of the fans that are obviously not happy on this, because for me personally, Daniel, I'm no like panicking. I'm no getting off my head. Well, get off my head to a certain degree, but I'm. What frustrates me is because I think Celtic can, considering, like Alan said, I think I said it Monday's podcast, this is the best probably financial position, infrastructure that we've ever been in our history. Because people might talk about Martin O'Neill, but that was money that was either a loan money or that wasn't money out of Celtic's bank. Celtic have got money that they don't need to go, and Celtic are basically debt free. There'll always be a tiny wee bit of debt due to other circumstances, but Celtic don't owe money out massively. They've got money in the bank to spend. Can Celtic improve in terms of maybe? Here's one thing, Daniel. Right? I've heard a lot of things, especially for years gone past, and what other teams spend. Right? Celtic can't go and spend 10 million. Celtic can't. How can they know? Why can we not be positive and say, go and ask the question? Go and ask the question to somebody who's, just say somebody down south. I'm trying to somebody down south. I don't know who you could get. Just say the boy Endo at Liverpool, right? I don't know if he's got a contract this year, so right. Just say he's, I might see maybe 31 or something. Endo, I don't think he's getting to, he's later on anyway. Just he's 31, 32, whatever it is, right? Right, Liverpool, he's not really playing for you. We'll give you £10 million. We'll talk to him about the wages. Is that possible? And see if it is, then talk. If it's no, then you walk away. But I'm no a mathematician. I'm no business sense. But it doesn't take somebody who's clued up to go ask the question. Don't scout somebody if he's no in your possibility. Like the boy for Go Ahead Eagles, right? If surely you should know the valuation of the guys that you're scouting before you go and bid. So don't go and lowball teams if you're not going to pay close to or maybe 80% of the value or whatever it is that they're going to go and put that up for sale. So for me, Daniel, it's all about trying to. I just want the best for the club personally. I don't know what Alan feels. I know what Alan feels. Obviously, we've said him on here, but yourself and other fans, I'm just frustrated at the fact that next year we are going to potentially have 3 playoffs. Well, 3 qualifiers potentially. We're not prepared to know for a playoff in 2 weeks' time for one game. So is it going to change next year with potentially the same recruitment team, potentially some of the same guy? I'm not saying get on the board. I'm not saying that. But what happens behind the board and the recruitment team, it needs tweaked. There needs to be a shake-up because it's like Alan says, it's the same spiel all the time, the same window. We're all saying the same things. Some fans are calm, some fans are not happy. But the fans are all split on things like that. And for me, surely, Daniel's a fan base. We shouldn't be split. We should all be singing off the same hymn sheet.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've definitely seen like our front line from last season compared to this season. It is weaker. Do you know what I mean? We can't. Now we're in a position where Jota's injured. We've sold Kuhn. We've still got Dyson Maeda, obviously, but we can't sell players 6 months ago who were dead wood. I mean, one of them was on loan and one was making cameo appearances off the bench. We're now in a position where we can't let them go because we don't have anybody else in the door. Like that baffles me. Like, how are you now in a position? You've been scouting wingers since before the window even opened, and you've not been able to pull the trigger on one because you've been either lowballing or there's talks, no, there's no, there's talks, no, there's no. Like, I seen a stat this morning saying that PSV Eindhoven sold 2 players, Noah Lang and Bakayoko, for £40 million, and then reinvested and signed 2 guys to come straight into their team for 30. So they're still making profit for their sales, but they're splashing that bit of money to replace quality with quality. So I get what you're saying, Ryan, and I do agree. Why can we not go and put that money in and sink that bit of cash in? But I think if you look at the other side of it, I think it's a bit of it might be a bit of hesitation because we have seen in the past that wee bit of investment in some players with a bit extra money and it's not quite worked out for us. But if we're going to move forward, we can't have that. Like, fair enough, sensible, but that comes down to your scouting. That comes down to how much attention you're playing. Like, if you are looking at a guy and you're unsure whether you want to sink that cash in him, you should be looking at him at a lot deeper level. And then somebody has to pull that trigger. Do you know what I mean? So, because if we don't, then somebody else will. And I think in recent years, it's became a bit of a situation where some guys we've no pulled the trigger away and we've left regretting it.
I agree, mate. Obviously, there's situations in the past like John McGinn and other things as well that like for me, Aaron, it's we'll touch on this too much, but other things to talk about. But it's definitely something that, especially after this year, we definitely need to tweak what we're doing in terms of recruitment, because for me, it's nowhere near this elite level that some people maybe do think, because we're very good at selling players, i.e. buying cheap and selling on, but not everybody your £1 million signs are going to be good. That's why they're costing £1 million, because you're taking a gamble on them at £1 million. The difference was Matt O'Reilly was getting talked about with a lot of big clubs. His data was amazing, and the only reason we got him cheap is because he was in League One and MK Dons, and obviously had a sell-on clause, whatever it was, on top of that when he went obviously to Brighton. There's deals why you get cheap, but 9 times out of 10, you're not going to keep buying players, like especially for the Championship. See, like, there's rumours about the boy George Brownhill, right? See, if he's not got a contract, you're not getting him for £3 million. He's just finished second in the league with Burnley, so you're going to probably spend about £10 million to get him, because he's got the Premier League. So then you need to then persuade him to no go up with Burnley. Obviously, this is if he's still in contract, and come to Celtic. Why would you leave the Premier League? He's got a contract, but say he wasn't. But that sort of player, we can definitely go and get a sort of. You can definitely go and get a player for Burnley, West Ham, Everton. If you ask the question, talk to them. Say, listen, right, I know we can't give you 80 grand a week in wages, right? But we can maybe give you 40, right? We can maybe give you add-ons or whatever else. Come here, win total. You've got not a guarantee, but you've got a shootout between 2 teams to win a trophy. You're guaranteed some sort of probably European football. We'll give you a stage to process your talent, help us on the way, and then within maybe 3 years, 2.5 years, the best bid we get for you, if you want to go, we'll let you go. That's the way we can. That's the way we obviously do it, Alan. But I don't think we ask the question, Alan, to go out and buy some of these quality players. I think that's my frustration, Alan. We can buy better than Greg Taylor, Liam Scales, Yang, an agent James Forrest, Adam Meader, Johnny Kenny, Osmond, probably even Trusty, Ralston, Tillio. How many? No. See if some of the players were playing with Aberdeen and Hibs, Alan, would you sign them? No, you wouldn't.
No, definitely. I think it's hard just now, obviously, with the Premier League and even the Championship, the kind of money that gets bandied about there. I think, obviously, with Josh Brownhill, I think he is 28, 29, I think. So he's nearing the kind of end. No end of career, but he's in the prime of his career. So if he signs a kind of 3-4 year deal, you're looking at that's probably going to be the best years of his kind of football career. I'd be on board with a signing like that. I just think that we're not pushing the boat out anywhere near enough. You're right, we're not asking any questions. I seen a comment earlier about because we're loaning a player out, we're loaning Narowski out, means we're only going to bring in a loan. Well, it's not accurate because we sold Lager Bielka, so we're still looking for a position and we're still looking for a centre half, and it doesn't. That's not the way it goes. That if you loan somebody, then it means you can only bring in a loan. The wages are usually covered by the team that takes them. Sometimes we'll take a portion of that, but we're sitting last year. We didn't spend. I'll just take the last couple of years. We've not spent any money last year because we brought in Matt O'Reilly. Right, we spent money on kind of Ida, Trusty, and Engels, but the Matt O'Reilly fee that covers that. So we've not spent any money personally in the clubs. You look at this season alone, we've brought in 20 odd million. We've only spent a couple. So what is stopping us? You need to speculate to accumulate. Now, we've got lots of potential, right? We're probably one of our best years, obviously, European-wise last year when we managed to get to the playoff rounds of the Champions League. So we've made that step forward. Right, we've been relatively poor in Europe for the last number of years. We've made that step forward. We've got an elite manager in there. Kieran, he's screaming out constantly, I need quality and he's got that ambition. The board's not showing that ambition. I think when you look at kind of Premier League players, I would like to be interested in them. I would like to see kind of us go for some of the ones that might be a wee bit out of favour. We've referred in the past to the likes of kind of Scott Sinclair, maybe a wee bit down in his luck, needs a bit of rejuvenation, bring him up the road, and Brendan can work with him, and it can work wonders. So there is different avenues that we should be going down, but it seems as if every avenue we've got down just now has got roadworks, and we're not able to get through the temporary traffic lights.
Aye, for me, Daniel, I'll let you have a last word on this, mate, and we'll move on to obviously new signing potentially coming in. For me, Daniel, it's just a situation that I think the money that we have even had years gone past, I think we need to implement a better recruitment strategy. If it means that we need to go and copy Brighton, that Hearts have got, if we need, because obviously we've got some sort of analytics and data, right? But I probably, if you look at some of the, over the last maybe 5 or 6 years, I'll need to go and do my due diligence before I put this fully out here. But in terms of some of the signings that we've failed, the amount of money we've spent on what you call projects, instead of signing 4 projects that are maybe £15 million, why not go and buy 2 brilliant signings worth that price that you've done your due diligence? Now, people, like you've said in the first bit of the pod, mate, people say that Engels, Trust and Eder failed. Well, I might not be Eder's biggest fan, right? I might not be Trust's biggest fan. I'm Engels' biggest fan, but he's got to do better this year because Nagan's going to come in and put that challenge up to him. Bernardo's going to be better, so Engels has got to prove his worth this season. But see, realistically, put this to yourself, Daniel, have they failed? Because like Alan says there, we got furthest we've been in the Champions League for a long time in terms of Neil Lennon getting to the last 16, Gordon Strachan getting to the last 16, we were a ball head away. Well, no, we'd have done it in extra time or no, who knows, to getting Bayern Munich out of the Champions League and getting to, was it the last 32, the last 16, whatever it is, and it's all changed the format. So we can progress better in that type of thing, Daniel. So I just think it's, for me, we can do a lot better, I think, in terms of the money we've had in the past, get a better recruitment strategy, if it's meaning that we need to do better with analytics or we need to get somebody else in as a sporting director to help with the transfer. I don't know what we need to do, Daniel, but definitely something. I'm not saying get the board and get it all away. I'm not saying that, but it definitely needs tweak, mate, because we need to move with the times. Football's moving on, and I think in some capacities we're not moving on.
Yeah, definitely. With regards to the players, I mean, like you say, we're a minute away from extra time to stay in the Champions League, and then we're a penalty kick away for a treble last season. So I wouldn't say it was a failure, but I would say individually there was holes in a lot of the players' games that if you do have that more elite level recruitment strategy, maybe they're not there, kind of a thing, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's an excellent point there that somebody made previously in the comments. Like, Aaron Moy was never a project. That was just a good player to come up, gaze a horn, and shows what he can do. Do you know what I mean? Why does every player need to be this buy cheap, sell more? Like, it does make his money, but you can't constantly play into that. Like you said, it needs to be a mix, because you're sinking that money into a few project players when you could just go and sign somebody who's a proven talent. Do you know what I mean? I mean, fair enough, I'm on board for the project system, but I feel we have too many who are now forced to be starters right now, especially, who just aren't at that level yet. Like, especially when we talk about Yang. I mean, we've been saying for the last wee while that if he kicks on, he'll be good, but now he's a starter. because obviously injuries and circumstances. Now he is a starter, so it's now he's in a sink or swim position if the club don't manage to move him on. So it's very tricky, but I do definitely think that in terms of the club, I mean, you've got an elite level manager there. Financially, we're in a fantastic position. It is our recruitment system and processes that are letting us down right now in terms of either pulling the trigger or better negotiation tactics, because we can't keep lowballing these teams, because like Alan says, how would the Celtic fans react if a team came and done that to us? So it definitely needs looked at 100% recruitment wise, I would say.
Happened last year as well. Was it no Atalanta came in for Matt O'Reilly? It was something what £12 million or 13 million, and Celtic fans were laughing at it. That's probably the equivalent. That's probably more percentage wise than we've bid that team in Holland.
Yeah.
So it can't work both ways. We can't laugh off us out. Oh, he's worth that, and then we get in lowballing, and that's all right because we're trying to get a bargain. There's a thin line between getting a bargain and being massively disrespectful. And for me, they've just went in, get laughed out, and saying they've been massively disrespectful. You can't get in with that low amount. That's like, I said it last week. That's like me getting an offer on Mr. Tesco 30 pence for a bottle of £1 water. What's my answer going to be? They're going to tell me either phone the police or the mental institution or just throw me out, because it's just disrespectful and it shouldn't be happening. So in any walk of life, you shouldn't be putting in low ball offers like that. It looks bad in the club, I know. It shines a bad light in the club. So I think we just need to see what happens. There's nothing else we can do just now, lads.
No, I agree with you, Alan. But obviously, on a more positive note, Daniel, potential new signing, whether or not it gets signed by tonight or the weekend, but it looks like it's just about done. It's obviously signing off the T's and C's, but it looks at the centre-back from Manchester City. I think he's 19. He's played a few games in the Champions League for Man City. He's played a lot in the B team kind of league down there as well. He's highly rated, Daniel, by Guardiola and City. They don't want to let him go. His market value is about 20 odd million or something like that. So they obviously feel come to Celtic, get some game time, get experience, play in Europe. For me, Daniel, he's still got to prove himself, mate, but I don't think he's coming here to sit on the bench. I think he's coming here to compete for a position and probably play next to Carter Vickers or come in and rotate between, because if he comes in, then we can touch on it slightly when we touch on the squad depth, but does that mean Scales or Tush he's not going to play much? So who knows, mate? But what's your feeling on him? Man City fans say he's decent and he'll do well for us. So I can't comment because I've not seen the guy play. I've not got a clue about him in terms of how good he is. But one thing is, Daniel, a lot of people might touch on as well, but it's another stopgap. Because in the same situation next year, you're going to be having to buy another centre back. Is Carter Vickers going to be here next year? For me, I think this could be his last season. One, because his injury problems keep coming. If he keeps getting surgery, can we rely on him to be fit all the time? Probably no. Can you pay guys? He's maybe on 30 grand a week, 40 grand a week to be injured. I know people might say that with Kieran Tierney, but Kieran Tierney's no got injured for us just yet, and he's been fully fit now. So that's the one my questioning. But on that topic, Daniel, do you think it's a good signing? Do you think the loan deal's a good signing? He could be a good player, but would you rather obviously get somebody on loan when not to buy, or are you in a situation, maybe similar to myself as well, that if the guy's going to be really, really good, you'll take him for a year, and then if the recruitment team are on the ball, it gives you a year to really go in and buy somebody who's maybe 10 million, 8 million, whatever it is, who's going to be here for the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I think I've not really watched a lot of him, to be fair, but what I'm seeing in the media and stuff like that, it is tending to be more of a positive spin on the player. Tall, strong, looks to be half decent, but again, we're flexing that link with Manchester City in terms of coming in and getting that, which is only a positive thing to do. But like you says, if he is good, then I would take him for the year, and that does give the opportunity, if he does push on and challenge and manage to work his way into the first team and stay there, it then gives the recruitment a chance to go, right, that's what you need to go and permanently get. You need to get somebody at that level permanently. Do you know what I mean? So I do think for him coming in, if he is looking to be first team regular, it's the best opportunity to do it, because, like we've said, we've sold Lagerbielke. Navroki is away out on loan, so it is between Scales and Trusty whether he can push in and separate the two and start. But I think he will be coming to the team looking to play first team football, so it's whether he can show Brendan that he is the man to do that and keep Scales and Trusty out the team, because I do see, I said previously to one of my friends that it's a shame we'll get to watch him for a few games and then his first mistake he'll be dropped for the likes of Scales and Trusty again. So big pressure on the man coming in if he is looking to stay in the team. But I definitely think if he has quality, then it's only a positive, because it gives us a good player for a year, and then it also gives Brendan the chance to turn around and go, right, this is what I need all the time.
No, I think Alan as well, Daniel's right there. It is a positive sign in terms of, listen, if he comes in for a year and it makes us a bit more solid with Carter Vickers, and it might even make Trusty and Scales, if you want to call, better players, because then they need to fight, they need to train hard, they need to do things better to get in the team. I know that there is obviously other, if you want to call it negative, Alan, that it's not an option to buy, but maybe that could be explored in the summer, depending on what happens at Man City. They don't know what happens at Man City if they sign somebody else and he's on a pecking order, or we don't know. But I think, Aaron, in terms of this signing, because I don't know about him, about his ability or whatever else, I'm going to maybe say it's a positive, because I can't say anything bad about him. I can't criticise it. I can't say nothing. This is probably a Brendan Rodgers signing, Aaron, because like I've said, that's a market he shops in. That's a market he knows. He's obviously seen him potential or knows about him through doing at Leicester. So for me on this one, I'm willing to say, listen, bring him in and let's see how he goes, because I really can't comment on the guy, Alan.
I've not seen a great deal. He has his profile and the evidence behind his experience so far has looked pretty good. I think that the type of player we'd want, it would be ideal to have an option, but I think he's that highly regarded by Man City. I don't think that is an option, to have an option, shall we say. But I think even if that was possible, I think we might be priced out of it. I think he has got massive potential, but look at in the English Premier League too, basically the reserve league, which it's quite a high standard. He was the player of the year last year. I think he's captained that side. He has had a number of, I don't know if it's 7 appearances all in through Cup League and 1 appearance in the Champions League for the Man City proper side. So everything about the signing looks good. I think apart from that, he's got to be a loan signing, but we could deal with that if it's going to be for a year. If it is a stopgap, if he does come in and perform well, I think I've been saying for a while, we do need somebody to come in at that centre half position to partner Carter Vickers. And we're looking at. We thought in the early part of last season that Austin Trusty might be that person. Kind of fell off a wee bit, but he's looked pretty decent in pre-season, I think. Obviously, that's not a great judge of things just now. We can always see time will tell. But I think if we're going into another season with Liam Scales, I think it's as Ryan would say, it's get the bleach out time. I think we all know, with full respect to Liam Scales, I think he's come in, he's done a relatively good job. I think that he'd be a good squad player for us, but if we're going in with Liam Scales as our starting centre half, I think we've got issues. I think you see, especially with Greg Taylor was there, maybe not been much this year, but teams are specifically targeting that side to put balls over that going into kind of Liam Scales and Greg Taylor at that time. So I just think that if we are progressive, if we are looking to better ourselves, if we are looking to be the best version of Celtic, there's certain areas of the park that we need to look at. Can we have a better option there? And I'm sorry to say, but for me, I think it's crystal clear that we should be looking for better than Liam Scales at present.
I think this will be, in terms of Trusty and Scales, Daniel, and then we'll finish off this, mate, and we will touch on a wee bit about Barry and JP spoke about yesterday on the pod, the squad dev. Scales and Trusty, this is the year if we're ever going to, in terms of be better and improve, this is going to be it, because see, if they don't improve this year, then next year your potential looking at free centre back because Vickers might go. And for me, you always need to improve. But see the thing as well, Daniel, see, like you mentioned previously, like Yang and telling you stuff, people say sell them. But what if nobody wants to buy them?
Yeah.
Clubs need to buy you. That's the mistake as well, Daniel, when you're buying players that might no suit you or might not do well. Clubs still need to then buy you. So like me saying I don't rate Ralston, but if nobody wants him, then he'll stay here until his contract runs out. So
Yeah.
this is why for me that you need to get your recruitment. Listen, we all know recruitment's no an easy process. You might buy 5 players, 2 might fail, but 3 are brilliant, right? But we recently the first window with Rodgers, Mason were all away. So the fans were bang on that window saying that it was a crap window because it's proved to be no good because they're all away. Alan said it. One of the best windows we had.
I says it was rotten.
One of the best windows we've had was when Ange came in. We got Abada, Jahmai, Juranovic, Aaron Moy basically on the one window, on the 1 year. We've not had that window in a long time. And then we had Kyogo, Hatat, we all had that in the one. So another window like that, it's not going to always be the case, but I do believe, Daniel, that Alan's right there, that this could be the last year for, if it's to be trusted to prove himself, to be the mainstay, Scales to prove he's definitely worthy to be in the team in terms of being able to come in and contribute and improve. But I do believe, Daniel, that that's probably what Alan's saying is right, that this guy possibly could come in. If he's in by Sunday, then as much as I think Trust had a good pre-season, I think this boy might come in and play on Sunday.
Yeah, just to touch on, like you said about the Ange, I said earlier on in the chat, that window was so successful because he got absolute trust when he came in and he said, right, this is who I want. This is like the deals were done like that. Boom. It came up a couple of days, bang, they're in the door standing there with a t-shirt. Do you know what I mean? So we're not seeing that now. There's this kind of a back and forth where it's this is who I want. I'm not really sure, and then it drags and drags and drags, and then it falls off. We never seen that, so this is how windows are now getting stalled. But I definitely think this is the season. I'd say more for Liam Scales than Austin Trusty, because obviously Trusty came in last season. He's been here. It was started off relatively well, and then I don't know, towards the end of the season he kind of trickled away. But I'd say for Liam Scales, this is your sink or swim. If you don't step up, refine your game, there's no backing him anymore. Like if he starts the season poorly, there's no explanation because this would be what his 4th or 5th season at the club, something like that. You've been a starter for nearly 2-3 years now. What's happening? Do you know what I mean? Why are you still playing the same way? But I do believe, hopefully, Trusty's pre-season was definitely positive, I would say. So hopefully we can see him kind of a kick on. But I'm just going to call him JSP. We'll go with that, save any confusion. With him coming in the door, I'd say this would be the one where it's right. Well, this guy's just going to hopefully, I'm not going to say it's a setup, but hopefully this will be the one where this guy will just come and take your place if you're not performing. So hopefully that is the way it goes. But in terms of a more permanent, I definitely think if the 2 guys already at the club aren't hitting, then centre half becomes a definite recruit for either January or the summer, because like you say, we might not have Cameron Carter-Vickers this time next year.
I suppose no coming for Man City after getting played in the year in the reserve league without knowing that he's going to get a certain amount of game time. I would probably say that he's going to get a hell of a lot of game time. I've not seen him yet. Time will tell. But I think we look at kind of Trusty the way he played maybe the second half of the season last year. I think pinpointing the Dundee game where they get manhandled after kind of Simon Money, I think you look at Leo Scales, a lot of people's got to come out with that usual part of that, oh, he's played in the Champions League, get a man of the match and all that. But see, at the end of the day, a broken clock's right. That's right, twice a day in it. So you're going to sometimes you're going to have people that's man of the match or have a great performance. Look at Big Liar Belka that scores a goal against Feyenoord, wasn't it, in the Champions League. They're not putting him in a kind of pedestal for that. So for me, when you take it as a whole, I'm happy with Liam Scales here as a backup and a squad player. But if we are looking to be progressive and moving forward as a club and as a first 11, I think we should be able to look for better than Liam Scales. But that's no disrespect. Liam Scales made it a level that 99.9% of boys and men don't. He's managed to kind of play professional football and play at Glasgow Celtic, so it's no disrespect for him, but we are looking at a place that we should be ambitious. There's areas of the team that I think that it's clear that we can improve. You look at, we'll go into it in a minute, this is a good way to go into it, right enough, actually, right. But I think that's probably one of the positions we should be looking at. Right, we can afford to do a wee bit better there. I think we can bring in somebody that maybe shores that up a wee bit, like a Cameron Carter-Vickers on the opposite side, I'd say.
I agree with you, Alan. And let's be fair, again, people might have different opinions from me, but seeing years gone past, see guys like Yang, Scales, would maybe get neighbour near Celtic's team, and that's this is just my opinion. I'm no opinion of Celtic fans. Like I say, it's a Monday night, for me the standards are slipping in terms of what people are accepting. It's all about opinions, but 10 years ago, Liam Scales would never even get a Celtic jersey. They would Yang. Guys like that around Tilly would never get a jersey either. Wouldn't get a jersey. Osmond, I know he's just signed, but Kenny, these guys wouldn't get, well, take away Osmond, right, because the boys just come in and he's made a development. So the manager said that, so take him out of the equation. It's no on him. But Johnny Kenny, he's up and coming, but if Johnny Kenny's wanting to be a first team at Celtic, he's got to stamp his authority now. No another loan deal and then come back. That Palmer, another loan deal, come back. There's no point. Some of these guys, maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, would never get in the Celtic bench. So that's just my opinion, lads. We'll touch on slightly and then we'll go into squad depth. For me, Daniel, I know you've spoken about it, but I spoke at Monday quite highly. It's all about opinions, mate, but my opinion is that some of the squad players that were accepting in the team, listen, they're squad players for a reason. I get that. But like Barry made a good point on the pod yesterday, when you go for Johnson and Alston in Europe, the damn quality is ridiculous. It's nowhere near it. So I think somewhere else, like even look McKibben, right, decent player in Scotland, but if you go for McKibben, Patati, McKibben, even in Negrin, by the way, I've only seen Negrin 3 times and you can see he's a good player. And then even Bernardo, I think Bernardo's better than McKibben. So for me, Daniel, the standards that what maybe some people, in my opinion, are accepting to play at Celtic, I think they're slipping, mate. That's just my opinion, but I don't know if you agree with me.
Yeah, definitely. I think we seen at points last year that how strong our front line could be when we did have the front line of Dyson Maeda, Jota and Nicholas Kuhn. That is probably the strongest one that we had. You take that away, now you've got a front line of Dyson Maeda, Marco Telio and Yang. That's nuts. Like, genuinely, there's no explaining it. That is our starting lineup now. I mean, no disrespect to James Forrest, fantastic player of the years, but he's getting older. Like,
he got one goal last year, Daniel.
I know. So you're taking somebody who scored 20 odd goals for you, you sell him, and then you're bringing in somebody who only got the 1 goal last year. There's no debating that.
Yang as well, with 6 goals and 6 assists and 70 odd appearances or something.
Yeah.
No, that's not good enough. You're saying about levels, Jahmai, Ryan, but that, honestly, see the minute somebody says that Yang's good enough to be, sorry to be disrespectful towards Yang again, right, but the minute that somebody says Yang is good enough to play in our first 11, we should be testing them for hallucinogenic drugs. That should be what's happening. I can't understand a world where Yang and Tillio should be starting for Celtic in a competitive game. I'm sorry, Clark, but the mind boggles. I can't understand why we've put ourselves in a position that we've got Yang and Tillio there in our wings. Aye, I gear up. That's me. I'm done.
I mean, we've seen it in pre-season. Alistair Johnson pings a ball down the right wing for Marco Tellio up in there, and then just bursts out laughing. He just starts laughing at him because, like, he's fast, but he's not got. I don't know. There's just something weird about him. Like, he doesn't look like a real football player. Like, he just looks.
AI generated.
Aye, mate. It just doesn't look real when he's on the park. But no, we definitely need to look to address, because now, like it or lump it, the last season our squad players are new starters.
I got the 40 and get it done with.
That is just, I'll take this banner. This is actually from, I'm going to credit where I'm got it from. This is from I think it's a guy called Charlie, I think, on Twitter. His Twitter name is The Boys Page. So this is what he put up. I've took it with his Twitter, so just in case anybody says I'm copyrighting them, no. This is from Charlie's page. It's called The Boys Page. So that is a squad depth. I know Barry and JP spoke about it yesterday, so we won't touch on it as much as they did. But what we want to focus on, Alan, is obviously centre-backs and the forward line. Just a wee quick summary, Alan, of the centre-backs. What do you think about the squad depth in there? For me, Welsh is probably going to go on loan to obviously Plymouth for the looks of it. There's interest. Why we're waiting on it, I don't understand. Just sell him, loan him, get him out. He's not going to play. Dane Murray's not, for me, he's not a prospect anymore. He's 23 next year. For me, if you're 23, nearly 24, coming up and you're not going to Celtic first team, then surely you've got to be looking to go elsewhere and get game time. But we'll see how he turns out. Carter Vickers, fine with him. Trusty, I'm fine with him. Scales, I'm fine as backup. But obviously with the new guy coming in, Alan, but what's your take on the centre-back area or the back line?
I think we've got plenty of numbers there. I think across the back line, you're looking at, maybe, I'm talking about centre-half. I think if we bring in Pusey, if he's going to be somebody that Brendan thinks will be starting the majority of games, I don't know how we'll view him, but if he's coming from Man City, I would expect there's probably, he's been told that he'll be a kind of important part of the first 11. So I would probably think that'd be us at centre half. At left back, I know Inamura, because his probably price has been getting plaudits. People say that he's looked good in pre-season, but I want to see the last game we played. Was it against Al Ahly? I thought he looked proper dodgy there. I thought he looked decent the previous two games before that, but I think he looked a bit dodgy there. So only Brendan will know if he wants to kind of get back up in that left back position, but I probably could see him all kind of explain itself in time, but I think we need to see more of Inamura. We need to see him for a prolonged period of time before we can make a proper judgment, because we've seen kind of good bits of his game and then not so good. So I think that's an area that's maybe questionable, but I think if we bring in another centre-half, and if it is Pusey, I think in numbers terms there's plenty there, and then from there you decide who your starting two is.
And yourself, Daniel, what's your thoughts on the back line? Obviously, Inamura, I think he'll be there in the squad. I think they might look at another left back, but I think he's the insurance policy that if they don't, then it's him and KT. If Mitchell Frayne, I know he was spoke about highly when Ange was here to get his debut. I'm sure it was fine. I was at the game. He done pretty well. He got a bad injury, I think, recently, so he's maybe having to get back up to the level he was at. But the right back situation for me is pretty concerning, because Ralston's okay in Scotland, but the European side, Alistair Johnson, if he gets injured, then I think we're struggling. But for me, and I'll stick by it, I've said it earlier on in the pods previously in pre-season, wait till you see Kieran Tierney. Nobody will target that left-hand side. I guarantee you. CB Kieran Tierney, Carter Vickers, and if it's this boy for Man City, I'll put my heart in the line here. Rangers, Aberdeen, they will not target the left-hand side. I can guarantee you, because they know Kieran Tierney is going to be flying in the next few weeks. This boy looks pretty strong. Vickers is pretty strong. You're not going to be putting massive high balls because Katie's quick as well. So I think you'll see a massive difference, Daniel, on that left-hand side. But what's your thoughts on the whole back line?
I mean, when you look at that right back position, you take Alistair Johnson out of that equation, and no respect to Anthony Ralston, he's been a great servant and he does really well in Scotland. But if you're looking at a European game, you take Alistair Johnson out of that equation, then that then becomes a tricky situation. Even that 6 role that Callum McGregor plays, you take him out of there, albeit by injury or anything, there's nobody else that can play that position. Now, I'm not for a minute saying, oh, we need more midfielders. I'd say midfield's probably our strongest points right now. But this is the thing. When you look at the right wing there compared to the left wing, the difference in quality is terrifying. Because on your left, you've got players like Jota. Obviously, he's injured now. And then Maeda. But you look at that right-hand side, not obviously years gone by, James Forrest would have been your starting winger, but not one of them on that right-hand side is a quality first-team set, in my opinion. Obviously, Kieran Tierney, great addition, unreal. It's going to shoot up that left-hand side. I think we even seen it against Newcastle when he came on. They started to mix up their attack. But, yeah, our forward line is definitely alarming, especially on the wings. That would be the two that I would say that are giving me a bit of concern just now. But yeah, the back line, man, it's sink or swim for Scales and Trusty this season, because I don't see JSP, I'm going to stick with that. I don't see him coming up here and accepting sitting on the bench for they two. So he's going to look to come in and be that number one. So it's whether they can either prove to Brendan that it should be them, or they'll just have to take their medicine and watch somebody who knows what he's doing.
And obviously the forward wings, as Daniel briefly touched on it, Alan, Yang, Flores, Summers and Tillio. Summers might be guy, might sit on the bench, who knows. Tillio's going away, obviously, after we get a winger in. Yang, I think he'll stay and be a part of the squad. Either, for me, this is the biggest season I think he'll have his life. If he's no going to start the season very well and prove himself as number 9, then I think next year could be potentially, he might not be here. But this is a massive season for either Yamada. We'll need to judge when he plays. It could be a good signing. He has scored goals in the past, but just need to wait and see. Johnny Kenny, there's links to Bolton. Is he going to be away once we get a new signing? And I think Osmond will be here for a few years to develop and obviously see if he can cut it. Jota will be back. We all know about Jota. My concern is with Jota is I just hope, Alan, that he comes back the same player. I'm only talking from my experience. I got a bad knee injury. I was cooked. I was never going to come back the same player, so I had to chuck it. I know other players have had ACLs and PCLs and whatever else, and they've come back well, but some haven't been the same player. So I just hope Jota's got the best of everything here. Surgeons and physios, and he's got the best of healthcare. So I'm assuming he will come back to the best he can. He might even come back even stronger. Who knows, Alan? But what's your take on that briefly, mate?
No, I'm just trying to get out of this deep depression after looking at that front three. Touch
on that, Barry's spot on there. I think Barry and JP did mention it, that the winger situation, Barry's bang on. I think we spoke for it, lads, that Barry's right there, that we must get 2 first-team winners as soon as possible.
Yeah. Minimum 2. I think probably a third would be open to perception as well. I think you're looking at that, and that's the scary part, that you're looking at Yang, Tellio, Summers, Ida, Kenny. What but I'm lost for words. I'm absolutely lost for words. I can't explain my feelings in this. It's like, what season have we ever went into with that kind of forward line? Ever? Like, I know that the midfield, I'm pretty happy with the midfield. I think the midfield looks really good. I think we've got 6 decent players there. A few of them really good players that can fit into 3 positions. I wouldn't do anything in midfield. I know a lot of people say about kind of another defensive midfielder, but for me, Callum McGregor basically plays every minute of the year, and no matter if we have got back up or no, he's still Brendan and him. They want to complete every minute of the game. So I think six players for that position, the three positions, is plenty for me. But you look, we definitely need improvement. We can't. Farida, there's a lot of different opinions, but for me, it's nowhere near good enough. When you look at the past strikers that we've had, you look at Griffiths. I know a lot of people say he scored 20 goals either last season, but Griffiths scored 40. Right? You look at Gary Hooper.
Commons as well for a midfield.
So we've usually had a striker that is top notch. You go back through, you've got Griffiths, you've got Edwards, you've got Dembele, you've got Hooper. You go back to Sutton, Hartson, Larson.
Even by the way, even Stokes is alright as well.
What?
Stokes is alright as well.
Aye, and for me, as much as I'd love kind of an Irish-born kind of Celtic fan and Adamida to kind of come to Celtic and succeed, I just think his attitude's not there. Honestly, there's a few times last year that just watched him and he was kind of just stoating about. I think he was born our side as well. I don't see him being our number one striker. I watched the podcast yesterday. I think Barry saying that he could be a good backup. It could be a good backup coming off the bench. I necessarily agree with that, but I can't see either. It just scares me that either might be starting games for us this year. That just scares me. I just don't think he's anywhere near good enough for what we need. We definitely need 2 or 3 wingers. We can't go into this season with the likes of kind of Yang and Tillio being more number ones, or as much respect. I've got millions of respect for James Forrest for the stuff that, for all the accolades and the time he's put into Celtic, most decorated player. But every year, and you tend to see that kind of wingers with age, they're the ones that kind of first go, because they lose that wee kind of yard of pace. He did look pretty decent last year, but I think we definitely need improvements there. The sooner the better. It's definitely worrying when you're looking at possibly your wingers being Yang and Tillio. That just scares the life out of me. I don't know what you think now.
It's no great, mate, is it? Yang didn't get himself really into the first team last year. He didn't get it the year before. Tillio's went out on loan spells. For me, a guy who's maybe 18, 19 going out on loan, you can maybe say that they might come and play, but if you're 23, 24, 25 and you're going out on loan to Celtic, you're never going to come back and play. It's never going to happen. Look at Mikey Johnson, tried back at loan again, then he was sold. If you go away twice at loan, you're
negativity around, sorry, but almost embarrassing. Take your head out your alphabet soup, pal. It's realistic. It's being realism and looking at that squad depth. If you're happy with Tillio, James Forrest and Yang being in the positions, then I don't know what to say, pal. But it's no negative. It's just
listen, Alan, we've all got opinions. Like I say, people will be happy with the situation. People will be calm. People will be frustrated. People will have different opinions. But that's what I'm saying about the standards of the football club. Years ago, guys like Yang, Forrest, Yang, Tillio, Kenny, Austin's just signed. Take him out. Ida, Scales, Ralston. These guys would never go on Celtic's bench. That's the facts. People tell me that people think that that's not the case, and that's absolutely fine. But in my opinion, and I like to think it's pretty informed, I played the game. I've seen Celtic players who were on the bench who have been that good that they couldn't get on the bench. Like years ago, we had guys like Nancham and Armstrong on the bench. They couldn't get in the team. People say John McGinn would come to Celtic and play. John McGinn wasn't getting that Celtic team right away. Maybe after 6 months to a year. But you had Nancham, you had Christie, you had Brown, you had McGregor, Armstrong, Rogic. John McGinn wasn't in that team within the first 6 months. Maybe after a year and a half he was. But Celtic have got a good midfield. They've got a good standard of a team. All we want as a collective is to improve. And Celtic can obviously you can't go and sign 10 players, right, to improve the team. But Celtic can improve in some of the squad players. But the last bit, Daniel, obviously the playoff draw, mate. This is the teams we can get. I think now it's kind of near confirmed. Bratislava, Kirak, Basel, Karabag, I don't know if I'm going to say that name, but you can see it. Dynamo Kiev, Paphos and Sturm Graz. Quickly, Daniel, what's your thoughts on that? Do you think without any strengthening we can qualify, or are you a bit like me that we really still have to not gamble and go and qualify, go and get players to make sure we get in that group stage? Well, format, sorry.
I think when you look at a couple of the teams there, I mean, Sturm Graz are incredible right now. Domestically, and then obviously in Europe they didn't do as well as they would have liked, but they're a good team. Like, they're not somebody to laugh at. Basel looked to be a good test there as well. So I think you need to not even gamble with it. Don't even put it out there as a possibility of, we might get there. Spend money, make sure you don't, and make sure you're in the best position to qualify for Europe.
I agree with you, mate, and yourself, Dan. Alan, I think we're agreeing with Daniel that you can't gamble. As much as this team might still be okay to qualify, it might be, to me, I don't think it is. I still think you can't gamble. The first 11 is still, when they're all back, like if Jota, Maeda, listen, it's still strongish, but we need to make sure financially you're stable for the next year or two, because it's going to make you even more financially stable. And next year, Dan, like I say, potential free qualifiers, mate, so it's an absolute must that we spend money to make sure we get in this format next year.
It's a massive gamble, one of the biggest games of our season. Our season's not even started yet. We know how important this could be to the club and the club's future in regards to how much we're going to invest in the squad in the future, because this no qualifying for the Champions League could mean selling another one of our big assets. The club could look at that for kind of maintaining money, etc. So, no, it's massive gamble. I think we should be aiming to have a few players in before we get to that tie. There's no mugs there. There is teams like Dynamo Kiev that put out the opposite side of the city. It was last year, wasn't it? Was it last year?
Aye.
Last year. So there's no gimmies. So you need to be fully prepared. You need to be fully up for it. You need to know exactly what you're going into, because these teams, they're all there for a reason. They're going through qualifying rounds as well. So they're there on merit. We have been seeded and we have got the Champions route. So we have got you can look upon it as maybe a slightly easier tie, but you can't look at it that way. You need to kind of be fully prepared and fully ready for whatever team we get, because it's not going to be any kind of gimme. We need to make sure we're in the best possible position we can be in terms of kind of quality and depth of the squad.
No, I agree with you, mate. We can't gamble. You can't think of, we'll get through this and then we'll spend money, because if you spend money now, it gives you, like we've spoken about, it gives you more time to bed into the team and get you ready for the playoff game. And like I say, lads, my last thought about that is, again, I'm not being entitled, I'm not being spoiled, I'm not being, because of what we've done in the past, and I'm just going on what we are now in terms of infrastructure, finances, everything else. We should be capable of beating 8 teams. We should not be in a situation where we're in the Europa League next year. People might think I'm no naive enough to know that you still need to turn up, you still need to work hard. Anything can happen in a football game. They could score worldies and whatever else. It could be a slip on it and you're knocked out. But I think we cannot accept, last word to you two, and we'll end the show, lads. But as to you, Daniel, we cannot accept that if the board and the recruitment team do everything they can to give Brendan Rodgers, if it's 25 million, whatever it is, it doesn't need to be a load of money. As long as he gets the players he wants, Daniel, and we don't qualify, then we can all go, do you know what, to the board and listen, fair enough. You've gave the manager everything he needs, and we've not qualified. That's on the players and the manager at that precise time. But if Brendan Rodgers doesn't get what he wants and in time for what he wants, and then we don't qualify, then you're going to go, well, that's not his fault. He's only working with what he's got. Obviously, the players will still get a bit of jip for no qualifying. But for me, Daniel, I'm going to put my neck on the line here and say there's no excuses for us not to qualify. We've got all that money in the bank. We've got an elite manager. We've already got experienced players here that have been through it, been through the mill. We should be looking, in my opinion, Daniel, I will be really disappointed if we're not on the format next season.
I think I'd like to see the board give Brendan that backing, and then, like you said, if we don't make it, at least we can say, well, we've gave you some good quality there. Like, we've spent the money. let's see what we can do in the Europa League if we end up in there. But Brendan didn't sign back to play in the Europa League. Brendan signed back to play in the Champions League. So give him what he wants and make sure he gets there.
I'm agreeing with you, mate. I think Aaron later says, I think it was Monday or last week, that if we're in Europa League football this year, then for me, again, people might think I'm wrong on this. This is my opinion. Bear in mind, if we're in Europa League, yes, listen, there's a massive chance you might go and win it, right? Or go and try and get to that level, because if they can do it, we can do it, right? So I'm saying this because she's like, we kind of competing and stuff like that. If they can do it, then there's a chance we can do it, right? But you're then 3 qualifiers for the Champions League. If we get Europa League and you don't go far in it, Alan, or even close to winning it or anything like that, for me, I think you lose your manager next year, mate, because I think he needs a challenge. And like Daniel says, the challenge for him is Champions League football.
I think we've already divorced one manager for next year. I think the way we've went about our business, there's no chance for Brendan signs a new contract for me. It's sad to say, but I think you just seen me his body language yesterday in that interview. He just looked kind of peed off. He just didn't look his usual kind of vibrant self for me. But I think when you look at it with regards to Champions League and what we're going to do, we're in a place now with the finances, infrastructure, everything we mentioned about the club. We've got all the potential to progress again. Does our ambition match that potential at the minute? Not in your Nelly. We want that potential we've got. We want that match with the ambition. We want the board to show that ambition. We want the hierarchy, whoever it may be, to show that ambition and back the manager. Present, it's not happening. Let's pray and hope that it does happen, that they back the manager properly and show that ambition, so that we're well equipped, the best equipped we possibly could be to get into the Champions League and for a domestic season. That's all we're asking for. We only want the best version of Celtic we possibly can get, and I don't think that's been provided by the hierarchy at present for one manager.
I think I'll leave it on that, Alan. That's a good way to end the show, mate, for me, because I'm agreeing with you on that as well, that we're definitely not in the best possibility. Daniel's nodding, so Daniel's agreeing with us that we definitely do want the best for Celtic. That's all it is. Well, no people agree or disagree. We've all got different opinions. We just want the best for the club. So, if you do like the channel, please like and subscribe. We are on all social media platforms. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. Myself, Daniel and Alan, we're all on all the platforms as well, so you can get us on that for any questions. JP will be on tonight about 8 o'clock. Barry Bannon might be joining us. We'll confirm that be very soon, and I think Sean is coming on as well. So there'll be more content for you tonight, about 8, half 8 tonight. JP will put it on his socials later on, just to confirm the pod tonight, but we'll be on later on tonight. If you go to the game on Sunday, enjoy the game. Try and be as positive as you can. Like we've said here, yes, could be a bit of negativity around the support, but back the team on Sunday, support the team. Hopefully we go and get a performance on Sunday. We start the league campaign in a high. But until then, lads, have a good the rest of your Thursday. Hail, hail, and we'll all see you all later on.
Sets up Larson here. Larson, oh, he's in! Henrik Larsson! That is sensational! O'Reilly, how about that for a pass? Jota! How about that for a finish? That is Jota for you! In for Henrik Larsson, and Moravcik! His first goal for Celtic! Here is Shunsuke Nakamura!